So another year, another Super Bowl, and right on schedule, another pile of complaints that feel less like reactions and more like required rituals. The game was either boring or disappointing, depending on who you wanted to win or lose. The ads were either creepy, incoherent, or weirdly moralistic in that corporate way, where nothing is explained, but everyone is instructed to feel something one way or another. The halftime show managed to offend multiple audiences at once without actually committing to anything. There was something for everyone. Everyone hated something. Everyone had a take. Everyone felt vaguely irritated and vaguely obligated to watch anyway. None of this is a glitch. It's none of it's surprising either. The grievances didn't interrupt the Super Bowl. They are the Super Bowl. Complaining about the ads, complaining about the politics, complaining about the culture, complaining about the people, complaining. All of that has become as structurally important to the event as the kickoff itself. Just like in America, more broadly, dissatisfaction is no longer a sign that something went wrong. It's a part of how the system sustains attention. The product isn't consensus, it's a certain type of managed friction. That's why we love the Super Bowl, honestly. Not because it's good, not because it's meaningful, not because it's inspiring, but because it's honest in a way that almost nothing else in American life is anymore. The Super Bowl doesn't pretend things are working, it just proves that they're barely functioning. It says, look, we can kind of still do this. We can still assemble the cameras, the sponsors, the celebrities, the moral messaging, the fake unity, the arguments about unity, and the resentment underneath it all. The machine still turns. And yeah, it's a circus, but not in the lazy high school history sense where spectacle gets explained by saying the masses are just stupid. That explanation is comforting because it flatters you. It lets you imagine yourself standing above the process, immune to it, smarter than it, watching it fail and all fall from the outside. But that's not what's happening here. The Super Bowl isn't something you observe at a distance. It's something you're inside of. You're annoyed by it. You're arguing about it. You're hate watching it. You're live tweeting it. You're rolling your eyes while still keeping it on in the background. And that's the point. The Super Bowl doesn't distract you from decline, it manages it, turns that frustration into content, grievance into engagement, and dissatisfaction into proof of relevance. And in that sense, it isn't an escape from American life. It's one of the clearest mirrors that we have of it. The Super Bowl exists because when a system is failing and slowly falling apart, it needs something enormous to keep the wheels from coming off all at once. It needs ritual. It needs repetition. It needs proof of continuity. Rome didn't have games because everything was just fine. They had these games because things were already rotting. That's the part people always get backwards here. Because spectacle doesn't appear at the height of confidence. It appears when confidence is slipping, but all the machinery still works, and that's the deal that we're in here. The Super Bowl isn't hiding American decline; it's managing it. It's saying, "Look, we can still do this. We can still marshal absurd amount of capital. We can coordinate massive productions. We can still put celebrities, athletes, advertisers, militaries, broadcasters, and entire cities and states into alignment for a few hours." And sure, technically that's true. The money is still there, kind of. The production is still insane. The lights still work. You could say the cameras are still gliding, the drones are still flying, but none of that means it's anything anymore. There was a time when the Super Bowl felt confident, not obviously not morally confident, but justified, materially confident, you could say. Like, yeah, this country is loud and dumb and rich and absolutely certain it's ruining the world, and it doesn't even need to apologize for it. Freebird. The Super Bowl made sense in that context. It matched the energy of a system that believed in its own performance and its own momentum and its own future. Now it feels like watching someone relive their high school reunion highlights at 40. Bigger screen, worse life. Every year it gets larger and emptier at the same time. More lights, more ads, more of these so-called historic moments, more talk about player legacy and greatness and culture. And somehow everything feels less meaningful. There's less substance, less essence. That contradiction obviously is not accidental. It's what happens when a system loses the ability to move forward, but still knows how to repeat itself over and over again. We're extremely good at doing the same thing again and again and again, just with better graphics, and that's our real innovation now in the West. Not transformation, not progress, not resolution, just higher resolution. People always imagine collapse as something dramatic, one big snap, one big unmistakable moment where everything finally breaks and everyone agrees it's finally over. But that's not how collapse actually works. Collapse is boring. Collapse is a failure to maintain. It's nothing getting fixed, but nothing stopping either. It's waking up one day and realizing everything kind of just sucks and then doing it again tomorrow. Same routine, same ritual, same spectacle, same talking points, same arguments, same grievances, same outrage. It is a dialectical process where every moment of your life carries within it the germ of inevitable self-destruction, and it mirrors an familiar unrelenting descent, right? Like a slow, funny, sad limp dick slide down a hill into a puddle of garbage water, as one Felix Biederman once crudely put it when talking about The Sopranos. And I think that's a very keen comparison to what we're going through right now. We're not going to get a clean ending. We're like Tony. We don't get some dramatic, tragic downfall or moral reckoning. Things just keep going. We become a worse version of ourselves, knowing that we are miserable, knowing that nothing is changing and that we can't stop what is happening. But at the end of the day, the rupture that we're seeking, it's not going to come. It will not be cinematic. And that is America, not failing in some explosive, dramatic way, just continuing to crawl forward as time marches on. And that's the scary part, right? Like the scary part is that it doesn't end, but it doesn't evolve either. That's the experience that we go through year after year. Another Super Bowl, another season, another round of nauseating ads that are pretending this is still exciting instead of deeply familiar in the worst possible way. And another halftime show that really makes everyone argues about for a week before forgetting about it entirely. The halftime show now is especially bleak because it's just all vibes, no belief, huge gestures stripped of any material conviction, right? Imagery and symbolic moments engineered to feel subversive and iconic, to feel like culture, to feel like history is happening. And nobody actually feels like anything except extremely uncomfortable or extremely included, one or the other. It's a certain type of ritual after any type of real meaning for the ritual has been drained of it. A performance that everyone keeps taking part in because not participating would feel much worse, because stopping would force people to confront the emptiness that we're surrounded by, in every living, breathing moment. And the part that people really hate hearing is that this isn't something that is being imposed on us from the outside, right? This is who we are. We're not above this. We're not watching it from a safe distance as like enlightened critics. We live inside this machine. Our politics, our enlightenment, our sense of time, our attention, all of it runs through this same logic. Spectacle instead of meaning, content instead of essence, refresh instead of change. Now, let me be clear because I'm not saying in any way that watching the Super Bowl makes you a bad person. It makes you a person living within the imperial core of a system that trained you to experience everything as some kind of show, as some kind of narrative. Pretending that you're immune to that is just another delusional fantasy that's layered on top of the spectacle itself. But as bad as that approach may be, the worst thing that people do is this constant reaching towards nostalgia, imagining that there was some golden version of this that we could go back to. And let me tell you that there isn't, like it was always this hollow. It's easier to ignore when the coffers were full and you had two cars in a front yard and the future still felt open to you and your children. But that era is long dead and gone, my friends. And with all of that said, anything ever changes. It won't come from acting superior to the spectacle or posting about how watch the Super Bowl. It will come from actually admitting what this is and what it says about who we are. So yeah, we're as a people, we're not going to stop watching the halftime show. We're going to drink the drink. We're going to argue about the ads and then quickly forget about them. Don't kid yourself. It's not just a distraction, right? It's a mirror sitting right there on live television, reflecting your image back at you. That's what it's doing. It's you, it's us. Don't look away.